Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Redington virtual sessions. Today we have the session on SonicWall Capture Client, and we have Javed Ali, our pre-sales consultant, who will be taking you through the session. In case you have any questions during the session, we would request you to please put it in the Q&A tab, and we will answer all your questions at the end of the session. Javed, over to you.
Good evening, guys. Welcome you all. Thanks for joining the session. And today's session, we are going to cover Endpoint Security Capture Client, which is our SonicWall next generation endpoint solution. So before moving to the topic, let's see what are all the things SonicWall has. In our earlier session, we already covered about SonicWall SMA solution, so Secure Mobile Access Solution, which is our VPN solution. And then we covered the endpoint security a little bit and the email related things, the cloud app security also. So we already gave some brief introduction about the checkpoint, the SonicWall endpoint security, email security, the cloud app security, and the secure mobile access. And now we will go into the details about this SonicWall Capture Security client. So currently in endpoint security, what are all the challenges we have? Let's start with the challenges. The administrator has a problem with the endpoint visibility. So we don't know how many roaming users are there, how many BYOD devices are there. We don't know about the security posture of the device. So there is lots of problem related to the endpoint security, and 95% of challenges and threats starting with the endpoint security only, whether it will be through phishing or malware propagation or any of the vulnerabilities or exploits used in the endpoint security. And the second challenge is related to the endpoint management. Endpoint management is really the difficult thing. So we need to assess the endpoint wherever the endpoints are there, and we need to create the security policy as per the management, as per the department, so that we don't accept any inbound traffic, inbound malware to the endpoint without any inspection. And advanced threats. So nowadays, lots of threats are coming in PowerShell script, JavaScript, and VB script, and signature-less attacks are happening. And then this will make a huge difference in the endpoint security solution. So static analysis are no more effective in the endpoint related solution. We need dynamic analysis and behavior based monitorings and the 0-day protection sandboxing solution that needs to be integrated with the endpoint solution. So this is the main challenge with the endpoint security with the advanced threats. And the last one is inspecting encrypted traffic. So lots of endpoint solution by default, it will be inspecting the endpoint, the encrypted traffic by default successfully. And so there won't be any problem with that. But still we can see the lots of threats which are coming in the encrypted traffics are not being blocked by the endpoint security solution. There is one challenge with that. And nowadays lots of threats, more than 70% of traffic in the enterprise is through HTTPS only, the encrypted protocols, and SFTP encrypted, and lots of threats coming in the encrypted traffic. So we should have the mechanism to inspect the encrypted traffics. And not only in the endpoint, you should have the encryption features at the firewall, the perimeter level as well. So the perimeter, so these are all the main challenges. The endpoint visibility should be there, management should be there, and advanced threats, we should be capable of handling the advanced threats, and the inspecting the encrypted traffic. So how we are going to solve these problems, how we are going to solve these challenges, we are going to see that one by one. And looking at it another way, as I said earlier, 95% of breaches originate at the endpoint level through phishing, the email-related attacks, and malware propagation, the web-related exploits, and the device-related things, the device control, the DLP. The security breaches is happening at the endpoint level only maximum. and through that they are propagating to another endpoints, and lots of things are happening at the endpoint side. And endpoints are primary targets, so this is where sensitive data lives. So once they are propagated through the endpoint, they will try to establish the connection with your other critical resources, with servers or any database servers or any of the critical resources in the enterprise, through the propagation, malware propagation and lateral movement. So through this they will find out the critical asset in your organization, and by propagating the malware, and they will try to retrieve the sensitive data. So this is where the exfiltration is happening from the sensitive and the critical assets, and from there they will penetrate, and they will take all the sensitive data and everything. So endpoints are the organization's weakest link. We need to protect it, and endpoint platforms are diverse and often drift from standard configurations with frequent exposure to unsecured attacks. So we have multiple components in the endpoint. We have the Mac related things, Linux related platforms, and Windows related platforms. Lots of platforms are there. So these are all the things we have currently in the enterprise. And what are all the five major types of attacks? Known bad. This is our known malware, means signature based attacks, which can be detected using the static analysis. Means we have SonicWall Threat Intelligence Cloud. From there, you will have the signatures of millions of known attacks, and we have using the predictive machine learning, artificial machine intelligence, and everything into the threat intelligence cloud, so it can compare and give you the result within a second. So we have the seed file also, antivirus seed file also, which will be loaded into your endpoint security solution, which will do the dynamic static analysis, and it will try to detect the signature based attacks. Then ever changing design to avoid AV. As I said earlier, there is lots of signature less attacks also happening around the globe, and the JavaScript and VB script and the PowerShell script. So the malicious scripts are loaded into these applications, and at the time of execution only, it will try to show the malicious behavior. So it will show the malicious behavior and try to attack your system. So during that time, you will the signature based mechanism, or the pre-execution machine learning or any other thing won't be effective. So we'll have the advanced analytics like behavior analytics kind of thing, and dynamic analytics kind of thing, and post-execution machine learning mechanism. You will need this kind of advanced detection techniques to protect the uh, latest attacks, the ever-changing attacks, the dynamic runtime analysis attacks, the signatureless attacks, and everything. And the third type is zero-day targeted attacks. So zero-day targeted attacks are very difficult to prevent, and it has lots of things like the hacker will do the social engineering things, and they will find out the target, and based on the current situation. For example, they will use this COVID situation, and they will send some phishing links related to these things, and once user click that link, it will be loaded with the zero-day attacks and everything. So zero-day attacks, how it is happening? For example, any of the applications, the well-known applications like you have Adobe Reader, the Office-related applications, the Microsoft-related applications are there. And if there is any vulnerability which is not yet addressed by the vendor, then it will lead to zero-day vulnerability. The hacker will use that vulnerability, and they will exploit the payload, and it will lead to the zero-day attacks. This is how it is happening. So this is the one of the major type of attack. And the humans are very easy targets, and find an inmove and move from there. And this is the lateral movement of malware, as we discussed earlier. So these are all the five major types of attacks. So how we are resolving these issues now? We are resolving through the legacy AV, legacy antivirus, not the SonicWall. This is saying about the current market trends. So currently in market offering, what are all the things are there to protect against these five types of attacks which we saw before. So for legacy AV, we have add-ons, and legacy AV is protecting the signature-based attacks, and we have lots of other models also for HIPS, the host intrusion prevention system, which is the vulnerability protection. For that, we are uh, using different agent, and for application control, we are using different agent. So these are all the problems nowadays. So multiple agents are there, multiple tools are there, same AV related deficiencies are there. So these kinds of problems are there, and this is how we are resolving the today's problem. And scan based predictive analysis for scanning file system and trench metadata to predict the existence of threats. This is how it will work. The dynamic analysis will work, and still we are limited. We are not addressing this market completely by using the dynamic analysis. Still, there is some limitations in the market. The algorithm requires constant tuning by the experts, and these are all the current problems. And endpoint detection and response, threat detection based on behavior or IOC coupled with mitigation or forensic, and there is no prevention added to the EDR. It will be used in the response stage only, and requires specialized personnel in SOC to provide the forensic analysis. So these are all the current offering in the market, and how we are protecting these using this technique. And there is lots of disadvantages with current market offerings, and and we will see how we are going to mitigate this problem, and how the SonicWall is offering the advanced endpoint solution to protect against these challenges, the five types of attacks which we explained before. So how do you solve them? Protection from advanced threats requires more modern approach. Means you should have a more modern approach to protect against the dynamic attacks, which is called behavior analytics, and stop malware before or as they execute. As I said earlier, you need to stop the malware before they execute. If not before they execute, after they execute, we need to stop, like the signature less attacks. It will be stopped after the execution only. So for that, we have a predictive post execution prediction machine learning, and for the behavior based analytics, we have a behavior model, and then report on your security posture. There is some model. It should report your security posture, any threats or any complaints or related things happening or not. Ensure compliance and security. You should you should isolate the endpoint. For example, if anything the complaints is not meeting, then the endpoint should be isolated automatically by outbreak prevention rule. Supports the inspection of encrypted traffic. As I said earlier, more than 70% of internet traffic now coming through the encrypted one only, HTTPS only. So we should have the mechanism to detect against these attacks. And in the right hand side, we gave some architecture, the brief architecture about the SonicWall Endpoint Security platform. And we are using the Sentinel-1 next generation prevention technology. So it will provide the best of breed technology in addition to the SonicWall firewall, which is using our own engine. We have multiple engines also, Sentinel-1 next generation malware prevention engine. And this is also the NSS lab, the leader in NSS lab with 99% effectiveness, breach prevention effectiveness. And we have antivirus engine, and all the things whatever you can see here, the capture client platform, the endpoint reporting, the antivirus enforcement, the SSL certificate enforcement, all this will be coming in the single agent only, single lightweight agent only. And all these things will support two types of platforms. The Capture Security Client will support two types of platforms, the Windows and Mac OS. And as I said earlier, the Capture Security platform has tight integration with our SonicWall Threat Intelligence Cloud, where we are getting the feed from millions of firewall around the globe for the known and unknown attacks. So the endpoint security market and buyers are overwhelmed. So this is how the market look like now for the endpoint security. They have the Kaspersky, the Sophos, the McAfee, the Symantec, Trend Micro, Silence, Palo Alto. Lots of vendors are there, and EDR also some of the vendors are there. So we should have the endpoint security, which should have both the EDR plus the EPP with one license. So with SonicWall, you don't need to purchase any specific license for the EDR. With the advanced license, you will get the Capture ATP, the sandboxing solution, the EDR for the forensic, and you will get complete endpoint protection license. So you will get all these things in one single license. So you can protect you will have full attack life cycle. For example, start with the signature based, signatureless attacks, the artificial intelligence, predictive machine learning, pre-execution plus post-execution, and at the last stage you have zero day attacks prevention, the sandboxing, using our Capture ATP sandbox solution. And then at last, for the response stage, you have EDR as well, which will be used for the forensic purpose. So all these systematic way of protecting the threats, which will be coming with the one client and one license. You don't need to purchase a separate license for the EDR and separate license for the endpoint protection. It won't be like that. So Capture Client with Sentinel One, how it is work? You will have the single agent best of breed. As I said, multiple engines are used, so it will be best of breed technology. Even if one engine can't stop the advanced attack, the other engine can stop the attack. So you can prevent the evasion of malwares. And a single platform and build from the ground up, and you will have the best support for the platform as well. It will support Mac and Linux servers as well, and Windows servers and everything. And you will have the two management option, whether you can manage the endpoint solution through the cloud or as well as on-prem. So you won't face any future related parity difference in the cloud and on-prem. The both cloud and on-prem will be having the same kind of features. There will be any difference in that. And agent aside behavior analysis, catching the 5% of threats others miss. And the behavior analysis model, it will be useful for preventing the ransomware attacks and other things. And along with other protection mechanism, we are using this as well. So it is catching the 5% of attacks which others miss, means which other models miss. And automation or time to mitigate risk. And we are having some automation things, so you don't need more time to analyze the attacks and stop the one. And remediation through rollback if needed. So this rollback is the main feature needed for the anti ransomware. So nowadays lots of things are happening. You can see the coronavirus related things, which is paralyzing the entire human across the globe. So the same thing can happen in the computer related things also. The ransomware virus or any other advanced threats which could demolish all the computer and all the systems, all the IoT, everything across the globe, which is possible. So we should have the strong rollback mechanism. We cannot rely on any single detection mechanism to protect against all the known attacks and advanced attacks and everything. So this rollback feature is very important. No vendor can claim we can protect the ransomware, and we can protect from the advanced attacks 99%. Nobody claim 100%. So we should have some remediation feature also during the response stage. So SonicWall has a strong rollback feature. Even if any malware or anything trying to encrypt your file, you can remediate using the rollback feature. So this rollback is very useful for the ransomware attacks. And what makes Capture Client unique? What makes our SonicWall Capture Client unique? So you will have the better NGAV, better next generation antivirus with high accuracy protection, the endpoint remediation or rollback feature. The remediation is our EDR feature, and rollback feature is very strong. For example, any infection or ransomware attack happen, you can just restore the system snapshot to the last good known state. So by this way you can give the response to the advanced attacks. And the best in class for MacBook, this is platform independent, like you can use it in the Linux, Windows, or Mac, everywhere. And with the Sentinel one, this is NSS Lab most recommended thing with 99.5% effectiveness of the breach prevention. And the AV test for the Sentinel one also very good. So this makes our best of breed technology with the Sentinel one and SonicWall. So this is energizes with the SonicWall firewall. This is not only the endpoint security solution, which will be synchronizing with your SonicWall firewall also. So for the existing customer with a SonicWall firewall, it will be opportunity to push the SonicWall Capture Client because it is synchronizing with the firewall very well, and you will have the unified management and reporting, because both firewall and the endpoint solution, the email solution, everything will be connecting to the Capture Security Center, which is our unified management. And then you will get the reporting also, whether the attacks happened on endpoint or the cloud related email, or anywhere in the perimeter firewall. So you will get the unified management and reporting there. And the certificate SSL enforcement also there. For example, when you have firewall, you can't keep the firewall without enabling the endpoint, without enabling the encryption feature. Encryption feature is very important nowadays. More than 70% of traffics are encrypted. So if you are not configuring the SSL interception in the firewall, this is waste of investment for the firewall. So you should have the strong SSL encryption features on the firewall to protect against the attacks at the perimeter. So for these, lots of administrators and customers are facing the problem with the certificate management. Means for SSL encryption, they will need trusted root certificate and everything to prevent the things. And with SonicWall Capture Client, we are providing the management for the trusted root certificate. You don't have to face any challenges for the SSL encryption. You just need to push the SSL certificate to the SonicWall endpoint. It will be loaded with the certificate, and you can enable the SSL encryption very easily at the perimeter side. So you won't be facing any problem with the warning pages or warning applications or anything with the man in the middle attacks or anything. So this will be very easier for you to manage the certificate. And firewall enforcement as well. Firewall enforcement is one of the very good feature. For example, if any of your agents connect to the system through uh, trying to connect to your enterprise without the capture client, then the capture client page will be thrown. So the user need to install the capture client, then only they will be allowed to browse in the internet or any corporate servers. So this is one of the main features of the firewall enforcement. So we are providing all these features together, which none other vendor in the market provide. So this is what makes our SonicWall Capture Client unique. So how Capture Client blocks attacks? So we have the detection. We are not relying on one single detection mechanism to protect everything. There will be systematic way of protecting the threats. So for prevention, we are using static and advanced static analysis and the dynamic whitelist, the blacklist, the cloud intelligence also there. So all the files, the known attacks and everything, advanced attacks, everything will be checked against our SonicWall Threat Intelligence Cloud. If anything matches, then you will get the signature within a second. And then for the dynamic things, for signature-less attacks, which is coming in the script or anything, then it can be blocked using the dynamic behavior detection. And during the response cycle, the endpoint security should have the strong response. Otherwise, it will lead through the critical attacks, and nobody can protect your enterprise. So here the SonicWall Capture Client, it has strong response with the EDR solution, with the rollback feature and outbreak prevention policy. When attacks reaches the certain threshold, it will isolate the endpoint from your network. For example, if any threats or anything happened with the endpoint four or five times in 10 minutes, then you can create the policy to automatically isolate the endpoint. So that kind of outbreak prevention policy also there to isolate the endpoint. And AV test has 99% detection with zero false positive. And we have strong NSS lab report also with best of breed solution Sentinel-1. So this makes the SonicWall Capture Client unique, and this is how we are blocking the attacks. So independent test, as I said earlier, this is our AV test. With AV test, we scored around 99% detection with no false positive. And according to Saira, this is 2018 report for the Mac OS Saira, and 100% accuracy is there, best system performance, and known false positive. This is what the feedback provided by the AV test. And the NSS lab breach prevention also very good. You can see at the bottom. We are providing 100% breach prevention for the HTTPS, the email related attacks, the peer-to-peer application related things, and the local intelligence also very good. The blended threats also very good. There is no exploits found, and the various evasions also can be used. With that, the overall score is around 99.79% of security effectiveness in the product. So delivering encrypted traffic, how we are delivering the encrypted traffic. So the certificate management, as I said earlier, uh, you need to, nowadays there is no firewall without the SSL encryption enabled. So when you enable, there is the problem to manage. There is some challenges related to managing the certificate, the root certificate authorities and everything. So in case of our SonicWall Capture Client, you will be easily managing it through the endpoint security. So when you push the certificate, it will be loaded into the endpoint, and it will take care of all your SSL encryption happening at the perimeter. So this is our last slide. So this is the solution value. So what are all the features we have in the SonicWall Capture Security Client? The next generation antivirus we have, so it will protect you from the both the static analysis and the dynamic analysis for the advanced attacks, and the behavior analytics models also there for the anti-ransomware. So we have fully behavior based antivirus with fully accurate determination through machine learning, and this is how we are stopping the advanced threats based on our behavior. It is not happening through the signatures or known things. And advanced rollback capabilities. So the endpoint solution should have the strong response stage in the attack life cycle. So we have our rollback feature, which will remediate the damage attacks on files and on the systems. So you don't need to worry about the data losing due to the ransomware attacks. So you can, even if the attack or any advanced thing happen, in 99% it will prevent you from the ransomware things. and the remaining 1% you will have the rollback features also. Even if something happened, you can roll back to the last known good state. So you by this way you can recover the files. And the firewall enforcement, so you can configure the strong compliance settings for endpoints across your enterprise. If the endpoint is connecting to internet or any corporate resource without having the capture client agent, so you can block that kind of endpoint solution. So this is one of the main feature we have. The firewall enforcement also there, and support for the inspection of encrypted traffic. As I mentioned earlier, for um, for encrypted traffic, you will easily manage through the trusted root certificate management. So it will better safeguard against against the encrypted threats with better user experience. You won't face any warning related issues or anything even after enabling the SSL at the perimeter level, SSL encryption at the perimeter level. And you have full report. So you will get the full security posture of your endpoint, and in the unified matter, not only in the unified mechanism. You won't face any reporting related challenges, because all the endpoint security products, the email security products, the firewall products, whatever offered from the checkpoint, it has full management and control over capture security center under one unified platform. So you will get complete visibility of the attacks, the threats which is happening around your enterprise, with all the solutions, all the SonicWall solutions, and you will get the unified report as well. That's it. This is the overall summary of what we seen over the presentation, and the solution value slide provides all the summary, the brief summary of the product. Let's dive into the question and answer session.
So, Javed, I don't think there are any more questions. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. We will also be sharing a recording of the session for you so that you can write back to us with any queries you have in case of questions from your end, and we will try our best to answer all of your questions. Thank you again. Thanks, Javed, for the session, and I hope all of you have a great day ahead.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining the session.